All right, we have the Avengers versus Balls Deep. Balls Deep, aside from his receiving core, is not too flashy, just pretty strong throughout. And then we have Steven's team, who's kind of dealing with some injury concerns right now at the moment, but we'll just kind of go through it. We have Drew Brees versus Phillip Rivers. Drew Brees is playing against Carolina. He's got a kind of a little bit of a banged up rotator cuff, but he's practiced all week, and they're saying that he's going to be a go. So I think if Brees is playing, I think he's going to do fine. He'll still put up double-digit points, 15 to 20, solid numbers either way. And Phillip Rivers, most of the time plays good. He's playing at home, he's playing at Minnesota. He's coming all the way from San Diego all the way over to Minnesota. I'm going to say that the advantage is for Brees.
I would actually say that I'd give the advantage to Rivers simply because if Brees irritates that injury, he may not play all the snaps for that game. I mean, it's very possible he's got McCown as a backup, and if you guys seen the commercials, he's wanting to play. But
what is that commercial even for? I just can't stop looking at his retarded face.
I don't know. He's standing in front of a water tower and they try to catch it all. It's stupid. But, I mean, McCown wants to play. He wants to do something more than commercials.
Well, his brother's going to get to play for some reason. I don't know why, but that is what it is. Running backs, we have Rashad Jennings and James Starks versus Joseph Randle and David Johnson. I think the advantage, despite the names, is actually Rashad Jennings and James Starks. James Starks is going to get valuable touches with Eddie Lacy out. If Lacy does sit out, and if Lacy's good to go, then Lacy is definitely an advantage. Rashad Jennings, I didn't think going into the draft was going to be that great because it's a three-headed monster with Andre Williams and Marine. And Marine's been definitely the better running back. And actually, Balls Deep has him in his flex spot, and that's not a bad play either. Jennings is the threat to get the touchdowns, though, and that's really what his value hinges on. He's a TD-dependent running back. But and then Joseph Randle, he's
looking pretty good.
He's looking pretty good. He's just so. He hasn't gotten the end zone yet. So he's a good bet for 8 points. And then David Johnson is in a timeshare of Chris Johnson. So it's really hard to know. And then Ellington's eventually going to come back. So he might have good points. And if he does some more special team stuff, he could get some points. But I think David Johnson is too much of a wild card, and I think you got to go Starks and Jennings there. And neither one of them are crazy. Sexy to look at, but I'm going to go that way. Receivers. Now, this is two of the better receiving cores in the entire league.
I'd say it's almost evenly matched before we even start.
My dad, having Demarius and Calvin is definitely better long term, or on the same page with these two groupings here. We have Randall Cobb and Emmanuel Sanders, Julio Jones, and A.J. Green. Now, I like Randall Cobb and Emmanuel Sanders matchups pretty good. Cobb's going up against Kansas City, and then Sanders is playing Detroit. Detroit doesn't have a super great secondary. Kansas City's got a better secondary, but I think that Aaron Rodgers is still going to tear them apart, and Cobb would be the beneficiary. Julio Jones is Julio Jones, and he's on pace for a monster year. I think he's going to do great. AJ Green's kind of struggled against Baltimore in the past, and it's kind of up in the air. It's really hard to pick between these two, and I'd really like to say wash, but I'm going to go advantage Avengers.
I'm not going to comment because I feel that it's so evenly spread. It's really hard to say. It really just depends on the day. I may have slightly better matchups, but it's Julio Jones and AJ Green. The names are there, the production's there, and it's any man's game at this point for the wide receivers.
Okay. Then we have Martellus Bennett and Vernon Davis. Bennett is definitely a better talent at this point in his career than Vernon Davis, and Vernon Davis has been relatively non-existent after last year.
And they're both up against good defenses this week.
Vernon Davis probably a little bit better defense in Arizona as far as linebacker and core. I don't know. Martellus Bennett against Seattle's pretty freaking rough, but Bennett with Jeffrey banged up and Eddie Royal still kind of not doing all that great. Bennett's been targeted a lot, so I expect Bennett to put up decent production either way. So I'm gonna go Bennett. For the flex, we have Duke Johnson against Oakland, which is a great matchup if he can get the carries.
He's been getting better every week, so I'm very hopeful that he gets that starting position soon.
He had 12 carries last week or something like that. He did pretty good.
The snaps are fairly equal, so I'm hopeful.
It's eventually he's going to take over that backfield, but for now, it's just kind of a decent flex play. He's projected for 9.3. Not sure he gets that, but he'll do decent. Then Shane Vereen versus Washington. In Bob McAdoo's offense, he catches a lot of balls out of the backfield. It's been a good fit for him, and I think he puts up pretty decent numbers. I think 6 to 10 points is pretty well what's expected out of him, and I think he'll get that. Now for defenses, Seattle against Chicago, best matchup you could have, period, because Jimmy Clausen is coming off the bench. Jimmy Clausen sucks. So Seattle's defense could have like 2 pick sixes in this game for all we know. Then Miami versus Buffalo. Buffalo's offense is better than most people give them credit for, and Miami hasn't looked as great as they struggled against the Redskins, and just in general they haven't looked as polished in the secondary. So definite advantage Seattle. Kickers, both good kickers. Hotchkiss probably going to get a lot of extra points. Parkey will do decent numbers, but it's close. But I'm going to say it's a really great matchup, but I'm going to say Avengers.
I'm not trying to sit there and...
I'm not trying to pick the brother pick, but
I'm not trying to be selfish by picking myself, but I mean, like...
It could go either way. It really could.
It's a really good matchup this week, and I have to give Matt's team a lot more credit than what I thought initially when we were drafting. That he actually, to me, has one of the better teams in the league, and I mean, I very well could see him upsetting me.
He's balls deep in talent on his roster. So.
Yeah, well, I don't want him balls deep in me. I'm putting me to win.